Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, but good evening, everyone, and welcome. It is the opening round of the ARA Porsche Cup. It is season 14, and we are live here in Japan. We're in Okayama for the opening round of the season. A superb circuit amongst the forest, section 2.27 miles, and we should be in for a fantastic session. My name is Adam Reed. Alexa Marshall will be alongside me, and Jim Cunningham, as always, in the production booth. First of all, Alexa, hope you're well. We're in for a very exciting night of racing, aren't we?
Yeah, it is the land of the rising sun, of course, Japan. Personally, one of my favourite countries out there in the world, and probably soon to be one of my favourite circuits when you look at it. Of course, Adam, you've already gone through the length of it, and we've got so many amazing drivers out there tonight. So it is definitely how it's going to fare up as we go into a brand new season here at the ARA Porsche Cup.
Indeed, it doesn't seem like we have our reigning champion David Toth with us this time around. I'm not entirely sure what he's doing, but yeah, the Hungarian does not seem to be in here. So if that seems to be the case, well, it is an open opportunity for the rest of the grid to claim an opening first title. But a lot of drivers in this championship have a big amount of experience, a couple of real world drivers as well. So really looking forward to delving into this circuit, into this championship, into this car, because of course it is a spec series. It looks like there's a high chance of rain throughout this one, which is the first thing you may potentially notice on the graphics there. A bit of wind as well, but overall we're going to be seeing a lot of action, a lot of close racing, probably even touring car style kind of racing as well. But it looks like we do have about, according to my timing screens, 28 drivers on this field. We now get into this qualifying session. We don't quite have the graphics here up at the moment, but I can assure you we are at 14 and a half minutes into a 20-minute qualifying session.
Indeed, we are. And going into qualifying, you mentioned the touring car style type racing. I'm definitely looking forward to it because it seems like this circuit will lend itself to that. Of course, you've got first corner, you've got Williams, you've got you've also got Atwood Curve, which takes you onto the long back straight here at Okayama. Then you've got Hairpin Corner, Revolver Corner, Piper Corner, Redmond Corner, Hobbs Corner, Mike Knight Corner, and of course last corner. So the entire second half of the lap having corner in their name, which is going to get very confusing for some at the rate. But right now, it is looking like one man who I know out there is going to be straight into the battle as Corey Lazarus is P3. However, it is Paul Chauffeur who is currently sat at the top with a 1 minute 30.553. However, Adam, it's already looking tight between these guys because it's only 2 thousandths ahead of Tony Despotakis.
It is indeed. It is such a tight field up there, and really open to see how everything is going to kind of work itself out. Yeah, of course, you see that at the top at the moment. That is Paul Jouffreau, a real-life racing driver. In fact, is currently third in the Euro NASCAR series that goes all around Europe. And in fact, he's going to be racing tonight. Sorry, not. He's also, yes, he is going to be racing tonight, but he's also racing this weekend over in Germany at Oschersleben for the penultimate round of the Euro NASCAR series. Is in its of course kind of knockout, what do you call it, the playoff round. So he's got Oschersleben followed by Zolder is his calendar, but of course first a bit of sim racing. Not quite it's not quite Oschersleben, but they're quite similar circuits. The tight twisty circuits, slow corners, fast circuits as well. So maybe I'll do a little bit of practice, but of course I'm pretty sure that these Porsche Cup cars have a bit more ARA mechanical grip compared to his absolute demonic V8 roaring Euro NASCAR.
Yeah, I mean, they're very different cars. We know what these Porsches can be like. No traction control, so that makes it a bit more tricky. And around the corner, no ABS as well to top that off. But I think that becomes one of the interesting factors around with these cars, especially around this circuit, particularly in the second half of the lap, because you are going to be soaring that wheel and trying to maintain as much speed as you can through the corners. But looking at the track, it seems like Hairpin Corner and Last Corner, maybe even Mike Knight, are going to be some of the most integral parts around this circuit. Of course, there are 2 classes as well in this series. You have your pros and your AMs. The pro drivers are easy to be seen by having a little green bar next to their name, and the AM drivers with a little black bar, as that is going to show up on the board, and that is nice and easy to tell. And it is definitely, when it comes down to this as well, Adam, because we're looking at the iRatings atop of that, it can be anybody's championship, especially because you never know. There may be some AM drivers who realistically could be in pro.
There's a kind of debate there that some of these drivers do deserve to be in the pro category. So, you know, but for some drivers, if they can't win that, you know, some drivers, if they can't win that pro category, they can always just back up on the amateur, because, yeah, you know, there's such a difference between the two, and you're able to push yourself in this one. So I thought, of course, this is the first time we're seeing a lot of these drivers. Of course, as you say, Alexa, we've spoken about, I believe, Steve Clays. We've spoken about Corey Lazarus, who's been in previous championships. As I say, I know that Paul Dufro in the pro category races in real life. I've seen him race as well at the Brands Hatch Indy circuit as well. And we reached these final moments of a qualifying. Dufro's lap time 1:30.401. The amateur pole is Gordon Haug with a 1:31.219. So that's 0.8 per second between each other. So some drivers will look to be actually just sitting in their respective categories. I noticed that also a couple names in here, I believe, being the likes of Lenny Kiefer and Christian Malczarek, who were on the entry list for the ARL GT3 a couple of weeks ago as well. So yeah, a lot of these guys have a lot of iRacing experience and are very, very quick around on this game.
Indeed they are. Here comes Christian Carlson, going to go to the line. He was P5 on the board. He will stay at number 5 on the board. And that is going to be it for qualifying, Adam. I would say we'll get into the proper classification in a minute, but that is a pretty good qualifying session across the board, especially for some of those other drivers looking directly at Gordon Hugh, because he's P number 8. He is right in the mix of it with some of the pros.
Indeed, we'll go through the grid here, and it's going to be the Frenchman, Paul Dufro, at the front of the grid for the Unity Racing team, with Tony Despotakis will be in second place. Corey Lazarus in third, followed by Ben Peterson, the Kiwi ahead of the Australian. Christian Carlson, the Norwegian, will line up in fifth, with the experienced Kim Andre Borklund will be in P6. Pascal Viel, the German driver, alongside the pole sitter of Gordon Haug. And then we find Helder Sequeira, the Andorran driver, who will be in ninth. He's not the only Andorran driver who we'll see later on down the field. James Parker will be in P10, followed by Christian Malczarek and Davidas Luranones, who will be on that 11th, 6th next row of the grid. Joey Ireland will start in 13th with Kevin Chevalier, and then we get Alex Rossell with Ruben Iglesias, the other Andorran we see in the field. Javier Bullina, the American driver, will be in 17th with Lenny Kiefer. A decent qualifying for the amateur, as the Luxembourg driver will be on the 9th row of the grid. Onto the 10th row, Thomas Wurm, the German driver, ahead of Steve Clays. That will be the next row, with Tristan Engelstad, the Swedish driver, will line up alongside the Polish driver of Filip Pieniak already. And we go racing here at Okayama. That was a bit of a surprising start, but in towards turn number 1, Paul Dufro trying to go very, very defensive up against the green card there of Deportakis. And now the Greek driver just holding the inside line, but it looks like the Frenchman is looking to try and storm off down the road here. A couple of drivers picking up the gravel there, and they've turned their way in toward the hairpin for the first time. And already look at Corey Lazarus looking to go on the attack here in this 25-minute race.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do, you want to try and get on the attack as quickly as possible and get that space that you want. Curry Lazarus still trying to make his way through, but of course, it's lap number 1. You've got to think about it. You do not want to ruin your race this early on. Maybe hold back a little bit, as we do see a car going down the inside. That is Pascal Whale versus Kim Ardre Borglund. And that is going to be nice and smooth for the time being. Got a little bit hairy for a second, but seemingly a nice clean battle between those two drivers.
Indeed it was, and that's kind of what you need. You need to be staying out of trouble. But with 25 minutes, a lot of these drivers are going to be acting like this is a sprint, really. A lot of drivers have been involved in a bit more endurance-like races, you know, the 15 minutes that some drivers are used to. Maybe even some have done IMSA-type racing, where you have to go hours and hours and end. Of course, there was the recent Indy 6 hours. So you need to be, if any of these drivers have competed in the likes of a special event like that, they need to try and get out of that mindset and then be able to go into short term. But you know, you also need to be on the pace, you need to be quick, but you also need to be, oh, there's a car in the barrier, and that's going to be Thomas Verm. It seems like he's gone sideways into the wall. I think there may have been contact. He was up in the mid part of the pack here, and he's fallen all the way right to the back.
Yeah, from middle of the pack to P25. He's come out ahead of a few drivers. That is Alex Russell, Philip Pendicate, as in fact, he's going to lose even more as we go to a replay, as we try and see what happened here. It may be a little bit of a while till we get there, unless it happens pretty quickly, but it continues. And oh, that is what happens. Not even into the corner, just on the straight line. And that is... honestly, Adam, I think that's just a little bit unlucky, but also maybe a little bit of a lapse of judgment from the colliding car.
Yeah, I think you're right on that latter one. Just a lapse in judgment. Of course, it's the early stages, the end of the first lap of the first race of the season, and you know you're trying to get a maneuver, but by the time the brakes were on, you know the car behind was just careering into the back of unfortunately Thomas Verm. But just continuing out here, I think the replay is still flashing away, but I promise you, I believe this is still live timing. We go back to what seems to be, there you go, there is the live feed there. And we still stick there with Thomas Verm, who is looking to battle his way up with now having the mid-part battle in the midfield here. Some decent stuff already in these early stages here, Alexa.
Yeah, Joey Ireland trying to make his way round the outside of turn number 1. Now looks to the inside of turn number 2, but unable. He got it there. But Tristan Engesland is going to be there in P number 21. So very much in the midfield here. Of course, we've got quite a lot of drivers. We've got a few drivers on here tonight, 28 overall. But now we go to P number 4 to see what's happening up front, because it stayed pretty even up here. But I will say this. Tony Destapatakis is P number 2 at the moment, and he is the man with the fastest lap around this circuit. A whole 10th quicker last lap than P number 1.
Indeed he is, and that is going to be quite the momentum. But you've also got to think about maybe, you know, getting your tyres, nursing them a little bit. Not all the way, but, you know, just a bit of time so they're not dead by the time we get to the 20th minute. But we're seeing now the leader in the amateur. This is Gordon Haug for Sim Racing Norway. He's just carrying his Porsche Cup car into the middle part of this battle. He's got Pascal Vale in front of him, of course, the German driver, but he's got to be careful because, there's a couple of heavy hitters behind him as Laura Nornes has gone down the inside there. The Lithuanian looks to just try and poke up on the inside. A bit of contact between the two as well. The Norwegian force off onto the gravel, and Sekiera, the Andorran, is also going to look onto this battle. He's thinking, where can I go? Where can I go? He looks up the inside, but he has to back out of that because the Norwegian just sat his car there. Sorry, not the Norwegian, my apologies. Pascal Vale just sat his car there. If he went any forward, he was going to punt that. He was going to punt that German off the racetrack and get himself a penalty. So it was pretty touchy stuff, pretty dicey in these early stages, the first 5 minutes, and already now Gordon Haug is not giving this position up very easily. He's trying to put up a fight here alongside Lauren Ornis, and looks like the Lithuanian will just keep ahead on this one as Pascal Vale, sorry I mentioned him earlier, he's the one driving off into the sunset on this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is the fight that you usually see around P number 8 to the bottom of the pack, is where these fights can tend to be in the opening laps. Is down in the inside, in the background, I believe that was James Parker who was trying to go for a move, and in fact, I think no, it wasn't, I think it was Lenny Kiefer. Yeah, that was Kiefer. So that is who tried to go for a move down the inside. It looks like it worked out for a moment. This is the thing when you got so many of these cars in the middle of this as well. When you got such a big train, one mistake from any of these drivers is 90% of the time going to lead to a loss of positions for them, which they have to look out for. Now on the inside again is going to go Kiefer on Gordon Hugh, and now a little bit of a rear end wobble there as it slides through the corner, but will get ahead. The gravel getting kicked up into the atmosphere as well, so pushing these cars to the absolute limit, which from experience of watching these drivers and other drivers, it's what you need to do with these cars, otherwise you are not going to get 100% out of them.
No, you're not, and you're going to have to really kind of work away with what you've got at this moment in time. And that mid-pack, as I said, is really starting to heat up. Lenny Kiefer has now put himself into the lead of this amateur battle, and again, it looks like Gordon Haug is not going to give that one up entirely. He's going to push that one all the way over to the end. Ruben Iglesias really just trying to see if he can etch forward and maybe just force a mistake with Malczarek in front of him. They'll head their way into towards the last sector. Very twisty section as well. The front two are looking pretty close at the moment. Jufro and Desportakis, the Greek and the Frenchman, 4/10 of a second between the two of them. They're really starting to work away well. But then you've got that big old gap to Corey Lazarus, who's now ahead of Peterson and Carlson and Borkland as well. So there's still some open opportunities as well, but the gaps are starting to widen up. Look at that from Borkland to Vale. That is over 2.5 seconds. But let's have a look now with Tony Desportakis with the green and black car, I believe, or is it changed? Because I've noticed that the cars are different compared to the picture and the picture and the ones on track. So the white and green, which we'll call it, and then Paul Jufro just in front of us, slipstream down this toward the hairpin section we go, Alexa.
Yeah, just riding on board in the little camera that sits on the roof, or in the roof if you want to be like that. It is now into the hairpin, but seemingly just biding the time at the moment, does not want to make a move too early. Second half of the circuit as well, you can't really get a good run unless you try it up the inside, because it's constantly turning around here and the corners come at you so quickly. So first half of the lap is where we're going to see majority of these moves, but they are sticking pretty consistent. Just 4/10 of a second currently between them as they head through the left-hander now and all the way through to these final corners of the circuit, getting real close to that rear end bumper as you look over the rear wing now of Paul Chauffeur, and it is going to be holding on for the time being. Last lap though, he was 3/10 slower. So right now, if we're going to make predictions, I would say that Tony is going to be one of the drivers to look out for, because he's got plenty of time in this as we are approaching the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, he basically gets to sit behind Jufro throughout the majority of this race and then kind of decide what he's going to do. We now look back here to James Parker. James Parker, of course, the Brit, running in 13th at the moment. He's got Christian Malczarek right in front of him, the Slovenian. I'm going to double check that at some point, because it's very, very easy to mistake the Slovenian and the Slovakian flag. So I'm going to probably research once I end this sentence. But look at Parker all over the back there of Malczarek. But he's got to be careful, because of course, look at Iglesias, and looks like he's handing over the place there, because Malczarek has had a big mistake of the hairpin, goes on through. So does Iglesias, and Steve Clayton's looking at this like, this is pretty tasty, I want some of this, but of course has to be careful not just throw his nose immediately in there and cause a big old spin.
Well, he is going to now. He looked for it for a moment, but unable to get past. Steve Kleiss is one of those drivers who knows, and from what I've seen from him, he's one of those drivers who is not afraid to sit behind for a bit, watch what the others are doing, and process the information. Because the more information that you have on what these drivers do, the way they defend, the way they attack, and the way that they take their lines, you can catch up quite a little bit. It is Ruben Iglesias, Christian Marlik, and Steve Kleiss in that battle. You got Kevin Xavier also coming into this fight as well. So we've got a nice little four-way train in the battle realistically for P number 12 at the current moment. And it is the Englishman who is going to be leading that, but no sweat on him because he's got these guys chasing him from behind as they are trying to get as close as possible, as quickly as possible, as there is Lenny Kiefer.
Indeed, and I've just confirmed it. Malčarek is Slovakian, so sorry if I did say Slovenian earlier. He is Slovakian by good with research. Lenny Kiefer, just behind Piquera, the Andorran, who's right at the back of this pro train. But we're now looking back here now with this battle going on because Steve Clays, I think, is now just keeping on tabs of this one as Malčarek tries to go around the outside of Parker, and it looks like he's just not having it whatsoever. James Parker just holding on to tabs him. Ruben Iglesias will just have to hold on through here. So apology for getting a couple of names wrong. This is the first time we've seen all these drivers out in action the first round, and of course identity is going to be a bit of a challenge for us, but I'm sure by the season's end we'll figure out who's who, and I can already figure out that is Ruben Iglesias going through in the all red car. He's gone for a spin, and unfortunately for him, dropped to the back of the pack.
Yeah, that was just way too much acceleration on that. No TC, no ABS, and just spinning the rear tyres up and making the car go around. It's not like a Formula. It doesn't spin on an axis. It will send you to the side. Luckily, seemingly being able to keep it out of the barrier that time round. So got away a little bit lucky with that one. No damage, it seems. However, it was going to be where just losing out all those positions, and like you said, Adam, falling all the way to the back. This is going to be the replay here. He's got a nice gap in front because of course driver behind was defending, and just rear end slips out and round it goes, keeps it, holds the brakes, actually ends up reversing to get out of the way a little bit more, get the axis, get it turned round, and then back on the roll. But that's just really unlucky there. A fault not really under pressure considering, and that is just how it happens at the end of the day. It is racing.
It is indeed, and that was just a mistake on his own here. We'll have a look back here with the amateurs, and it's Alex Rossell, where he's up against his fellow countryman of Cueto. It looks like the two Spaniards batting over 23rd and 24th here. So this may not be for much in terms of points, but for Spanish pride, this is probably big here between the two. I'm guessing they're going to be quite good friends off the track, but maybe not quite as so on the track when the visors are down and the PCs are heating up, and of course the steering wheels on their sim rigs are going to be soaring away here as Rossell looks to go in towards the last corner, try and get the best exit, leaving a little bit of a late apex on this one, trying to get the best he possibly can, but he decides to go gravel trapping instead here, but he'll get the slipstream all the way down in towards turn one here at Okayama. Will he go for the move? He does send the move here, but he just tries to then back off and scare Cuerto, and it looks like it's worked this time around because he's now holding that outside line. There's been a bit of a touch between the two Spaniards. That's going to get a little bit feisty between the two as well, so it looks like they're going to have to just hold on for now.
Yeah, a little bit of door banging never did anyone harm at the end of the day. Crashing is a different matter, but a little bit of door banging as it may have been between these two as they head around this circuit. Of course, this is Lenny Kiefer and Gordon Hugh as they are going and they are fighting. They've been doing so for the first 15 minutes of this race, and they haven't given up at all. They are continuously going around this circuit as the sun is starting to rise at Okayama, coming out the clouds and bringing down the shine But with so many trees around here, it really makes for one of the most interesting circuits, of course, to get rid of noise pollution. But now, as you come around the main straight, these engines are going to get very loud, and the grandstand's going to get loud, as it looks like trying to hop in the toe as quickly as possible, trying to make as many moves, but nothing done for the time between the two AM-class drivers.
Indeed, they're just trying to hold position there between for Lenny Kiefer, just trying to hold ahead here, because I believe this is the, he got ahead of Gordon Haug, and he's just trying to hold stations here, because this will lead to a victory in the amateurs. We'll really have to sense on board what's going on as well, because of course that is something to keep an eye on out for. Every point matters in the championship, and it all counts come season's end. Steve Clays is now having a look at this battle. He's just behind Kevin Chevalier in his Porsche. That's a late lunge. I think he's gonna have to back out of this one. No, he sticked with it, because Chevalier's got a little bit wide here, and the black and yellow striped Porsche will just hang on. We're seeing the side camera with Steve Clay, and the Belgian is just gonna get bullied out there. Chevalier did a fantastic job to just hold his line, and unfortunately for him, the inside line maneuvers managed to just keep him ahead. And I think Steve Clay would be looking at this thinking, I just want to get through on this one, because, well, out of just frustration as well, he'd be looking to see if he can open up anything. But we'll of course, we do have the top 10 being reversed, so we'll kind of see what overtaking is going to be like, especially with the more kind of slower cars going to be up against the faster cars. And speaking of the top 10, Lenny Kiefer is trying to just hold on for not just the amateur win, but pole position for race 2. Lenny Kiefer is just trying to sprint away here from Gordon Haug, and the Norwegian is really now starting to feel pressure from behind.
Well, it seems like they have got it done, because they've opened up the gap quite nicely. At the start of the lap, it was 0.3, now it's 0.7. So Gordon Haug, he's got James Parker just behind him. It's going to be that battle which they're going to have to focus on now. And this is some of that I've noticed now after watching this race. Going back to Steve Clays, but now this will also come into effect for this battle. I think a lot of drivers, when they get in a battle, do take a wider line through the hairpin we've just gone through. Because if you do look here, that's one, that's two, and just ahead is a third left-hander. So if you're on the outside at the hairpin at the end of the straight, that sets you up perfectly to be on the inside for 3 consecutive corners, which at the end of the day, that's just going to help you get loads more track position.
Will indeed. So I think a lot of these guys, again, just keeping an eye on what's around them for the moment, seeing what's on offer. Again, the gaps have been really opening up. The gap between Borkland and Veal, 6th and 7th, are currently over 4 seconds. Is going to be a big advantage to try and just hold on to. But there's been a bit of a tussle between Ben Peterson, because he has got past fellow Oceanian continent driver Corey Lazarus. We know how good Corey Lazarus has been over the last couple of years in his sim racing career. Will he be able to potentially get himself on the podium once again? But we're currently going into the last 6 minutes here. How time has flown by.
Indeed it has, and we're 19 in, 25 is how many you get. Corey Lazarus versus Ben Peterson is the current battle for the final place on the pro podium and overall podium, and then P number 1 is Paul Chauffeur, followed by Tony Despotakis in P number 2. Both of these battles are by less than a tenth, saying around half a tenth between them, so I am wondering here. We've seen Tony behind Paul for basically this entire race. In fact, this entire race, I should say. And I feel like he final 5 minutes, you would think he's going to try go for it. Because yes, that would set him up for P number 10 for race number 2 on the starting grid. But other than that, it would still be some pretty good points in the opening round here at the ARA Porsche Cup, especially around a circuit like Okayama. He seems to be the man in control of it for the time being, and he will be holding onto it. So that's another thing you got to think about, the mindset of how it all works. So that's just that's just how it happens. And of course, this is the ARA Porsche Cup, and it is the Apex Racing Academy. They produce setups and track guides for over 50 cars, including the Porsche Cup, and you can buy a bronze, silver, or gold subscription at apexracingac.com. That is apexracingac.com.
Yeah, fantastic stuff there. We've got a little bit of support in the chat for Paul Dufro and Kevin Chevalier of the Unity Racing team. There's been a message in YouTube chat. Keep commenting in the YouTube live chat your support for your drivers, and I'm sure they will be shouted out during the maybe the second race. We've also been given a request, I think, to focus on one of the drivers, Helder Sequeira. Well, I can tell you he's currently going to be second place on the grid if he just holds position. So he'll be on the front row, so he should get a lot of TV time if he can just stick where he is. And the Andorran really working well. He is 3.7 seconds off the next car, but the Andorran really pushing on. He's just got to, as I say, keep position now. Don't fall down to Lenny Kiefer or Gordon Haug, and he should be able to, as somebody requested, get more screen time. But yeah, good stuff, of course, for him. And we'll now look back here, because this is a bit of a tussle here. Alexa, who's this between?
This is between Pascal Whale and Davidas Lorinos, and they are currently having a fight between each other, about 3 tenths as it does currently sit. The last lap times for him was very close, was about a 10. As here we go, this is going to get incredibly close between these guys. Kevin Shavlin, Christian Malarick, and Steve Kleiss, wheel to wheel, side by side there for a moment. Christian is right in the middle of this. He's trying to get Kevin, but Steve is fighting all the way back at him. So that got incredibly close between them. And just ahead, as into the braking zone, a little bit of a tap there by Steve Kleiss. So a little bit of a tap on the rear left, but that is going to stay where it is for the time being. That got incredibly close, but now Steve Kleiss got a very bad line through there as he dropped right off the back. And it seems like that's going to bring an end to that battle for now, because it's opened up to about half a second. But maybe, just maybe, we'll have Xavier Bulliner, who is going to be coming into this, as he is now around 5 tenths. It's sitting around that mark for the time being, as it is going to be all over the place. It's continuously going around here, and even closer at the top. Less than a tenth is what it seems between all these drivers on their last lap times. So, Adam, we are seeing some amazing racing tonight, and we're on 23 minutes, 20 seconds, 25 to go. I think we're going to be going on to the penultimate lap after this one.
I do agree with you. It's been a fantastic night of racing. Of course, we do still have that second race coming up, but it kind of went above my expectations. I would have thought some of these drivers would have wanted to just keep themselves maybe a little bit passive compared to maybe that second race, because of course it is round 1, it is the start of the season, and you're very much starting to just get into a rhythm. But some drivers have gone right off the bat, got right stuck in to these fights. Xavier Bulliner, the American, starting to just try and find his way into this battle, but is it a little too late for him? We now turn our way through the final corners with Paul Dufro and Despotakis, because they're going to be starting the last lap very, very soon. And here they go.
Yeah, coming onto this, it's very, very close between these. There is support for Xavier coming into the end of this, so we're going to wait and see how he can do. But right now, we've got Paul Chauffeur, who is at the top. He's still got Tony Despotakis right behind him. Last lap time was incredibly close, only a few thousandths between them. So that is how they're currently sitting at the moment in time. If it stays like this, they will be P number 9. They will be P number 10 and 9 respectively into the start of the second race due to the top 10 reversed. But now, coming out this corner and onto the back straight, they are going to be trying to close in as quickly as possible. However, like I said before, 3 triple left-handers after the hairpin at the end. You really want to keep that outside line real if you want to play the smart game. It's coming closer and closer, and this is going to be it as we are now over 25 minutes. This is going to be between them. If Tony wants to get a move done, he's got to do it quick because we are heading right through this final segment in the second half of this lap. Paul Jofer, Tony Dosapatekes, as they are coming through and through, as it is fight after fight after fight, but seemingly nothing at the time. He may have looked for a move down the inside, but the door does shut, seeming like there's nothing else he can do unless he gets the speed, but there will not be. So Paul Jofer at this current moment in time, round the final corner here in race number 1. He'll be P10 for race 2, but it's P number 1 now. Paul Jofer wins race 1 in the opening round here at Okayama in the ARA Porsche Cup. Tony Desapatakis, P number 2, and Ben Pedersen becomes P number 3, chasing out Corey Lazarus.
Indeed, fantastic race there. Paul Jufro is your winner, and Lenny Kiefer is going to be in P10. Important stuff for the Luxembourg driver. P10 on the road, winner in the amateur class, pole position for race 2 here at Okayama. He will finish ahead of Haug, ahead of Park, ahead of Chevalier, and will now round off and give you the full results, unless there's still a couple of drivers still out there, which there are. That is Ryan Stringer, who is now coming to a stop, and we now start to see the last couple of drivers, Dylan Ham and Truong, will round off the grid as well. They just need to wait for them to go over the timing line, and they'll stop in place, and then we can give you a full rundown of the results. It's been a very, very chaotic first race. I would have thought it would have been a bit more passive, as I said earlier on in the broadcast. But I've been pleasantly surprised. I've been really surprised with how they've gone about things. Really intrigued to see how that's going to go. Here, so we've got a bit of a warm-up, so 3 minutes. Let's get through this grid, this results then. Paul Jufro is your winner ahead of Tony Despotakis, with Ben Pedersen will round off the podium place. Corey Lazarus will be in P4. The New Zealander will be ahead of the 2 Norwegians of Christian Carlsen and Kim Andre Borglund. Pascal Veal will be in P7, followed by David Ass, Lauren Ones, with Helder Kiskera in P9. Lenny Kiefer will be getting P1 in the amateurs ahead of Gordon Haug, with James Parker in P12, Kevin Chevalier in P13. For the Unity Racing team, Christian Malcharek will be in 14th. He'll round off the podium for the amateurs, finishing ahead of Steve Calais and Xavier Bulliner. Max Nevin Che, the Portuguese driver, finishes home in 17th, with Tristan Engelstad in 18th. Moving down the rest of the grid, Ruben Iglesias will finish in 19th, with Ryan Stringer in P20, with Philip Peñac, the Polish driver, with Ruben Cueto, the finishing the highest of the 2 Spaniards, with Thomas Wurm put himself up to P23 ahead of Alex Russell. Joey Ireland in P25, with Dylan Ham, Tree Trong, and an early DNF for Danny Huntley, the Brit for Supremus Racing, down there in 28th and last. A chaotic start to the ARA, the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship for Season 14. And of course, so many drivers. I think every single driver in here has not been a champion in this one. So, with the way this is potentially going, could we be getting a new champion in this championship?
It may tend to be, although I will do a quick correction on this one. Looking into the history books of the ARA Porsche Cup, it did turn out that Kleiss would end up as season 13 champion. So I believe if I'm remembering correctly, and I'm doing my maths correctly, which I should be because it's in the name, he is actually reigning champion. So that is where it sits. Lazarus and Pedersen have done many seasons here, so they are known veterans in this. But Jofer is a rookie, so such a strong result in the opening round as a rookie I would say he is going to definitely be one to look out for. And of course, we've got plenty of high-rated amateur drivers in this field as well, Adam. And I'm just looking through the statistics. I believe that one of the highest-rated amateurs could be, if I read correctly. In fact, there is quite a lot of them, all sitting about 2,000-3,000. But it is going to be on the board, seemingly, Kiefer and Worm Jr.
Super interesting on that part. But here is the grid now for for the second race here. We have Lenny Kiefer, who will line up on pole position, headed Helder Casquera with Davidas Luranonis and Pascal Ville, with Kim Andrea Borglund and Christian Carlson. Corey Lazarus will line up alongside Ben Peterson, with Tony Despotakis and Paul Dufro rounding out the reverse top 10. Gordon Haug and James Parker on the 6th row of the grid, with Kevin Chevalier in 13th and Christian Maltarek in 14th. Steve Clays will be ahead of Xavier Bullina, with Max Nevenche and Tristan Engelstad. Ruben Iglesias will be alongside Ryan Stringer on the 10th row of the grid. Then we find Philip Peniak with Ruben Cuento, the Spaniard, ahead of Thomas Burm, who will hope to make up more places. We find Alex Rossell and Joey Ireland ahead of Dylan Ham with the back of the grid. And on the 14th row, Tri Truong, the Vietnamese driver, and Danny Huntley. And we go green here at Okayama for the second time, with the barrel down towards turn number 1 is going to be oh so crucial. Kiefer holding it there, but there's going to be 3-4 cars wide in towards that first corner. We'll then move on towards the second. A couple of drivers. Oh, there's a spin in the back as well. That might be Thomas Verm. Please don't tell me it's Thomas Verm. I've just spotted him going down 3 places. There's more carnage at the back of the pack, it seems like, and that seems to be another car round. I think that's Pascal Ville, who was dropping down the places. But the 114 here of David Lorinonis is now going to try and charge an attack here on Lenny Kiefer, but Kiefer is already going to go defensive in these early stages with Kim Andre Borgland, who is trying to put himself into a position of attack here. But Lorinonis will hold on that outside line here in towards the first hair, or the second hairpin on the racetrack.
Pascal ended up spinning at turn number 1. He was the first one to go spinning around, and that is plenty of drivers. About 4 or 5 ended up on that opening lap. So we thought race 1 was chaotic. It's kicked off here in the start of race number 2. Here comes Davidis, gonna be looking for the inside, trying to get past Lenny Kiefer, but it's not gonna work out that time either. Gordon Howe has made up 3 positions. He is up in the P number 8, and oh, that is a big spin. Down goes Hedler, down goes Christian Marlock. So that is two of the big hitters, many would consider, going straight down the grid order. That's put Xavier Bullina up into P number 10. Majority of the drivers who have been spun round are the pros. So right now, Lenny Kiefer leads, followed by Davidus Laureus. Then it's going to be Kim Anderle Borkland, followed by Paul Chauffeur, then Corey Lazarus to round out the top 5. Christian Carlson, P number 6. Steve Kleiss has just been overtaken by Kevin Chauffeur. It's so many cars, so much movement across the field. I believe Ruben Cato may have been overtaken or spun, but Steve Kleiss is having a put up a mega defense as there is a car off in the background and into the barrier. That was Iglesias. Now going to be looking for the inside is Kevin Chavilla, as they are going to go wheel to wheel, side by side, and it's going to be trying to get it moved on the back straight, and it is for the lead this time. A little bit of door banging between Davidus and Kiefer as they are going to continue going. They are fighting one another left and right. Down the inside goes Lenny Kiefer. Once that outside line will end up getting it, cuts off the nose. Now Kim Anderle Borkland is going to be on the back of Davidus Laureus. So now these guys are having an absolute proper fight. We thought, like I've already said, Adam, we thought race 1 was good. Race 2 is already providing all the action.
Oh, look at this. Borkland now trying to go up the inside of Lorinonis, the Lithuanian driver. Feeling the pressure here, was trying to take the lead. Lenny Kiefer is just holding on to this position beautifully. We've had a couple of drivers go up the field. Joey Ireland in 15th, up 10 places from his starting position. But what about the kind of the main ones up top? +7 for Steve Clays in 8th place. And look at P4. That's Paul Dufro, who has come jumped from 10th on the grid and now sits 4th, albeit 1.5 seconds behind this lead battle. But that at one stage was 3 seconds. This is how much they're losing time here. Steve Clay's now having to go defensive, and unfortunately, he's almost been hit off the road by Kevin Chevalier. Now feeling the pressure from behind from Gordon Howe, who is looking to try and take another victory. Well, I say take another victory. Take an actual first victory in the amateur class here. And we now look at the side camera, and Kevin Chevalier has got a decent exit on this one. Can Steve Clays just hold on to the position here? Look back at the leaders here, because Lenny Kiefer feeling the pressure right round the outside, and Lauren Onis off the road. The Lithuanian has unfortunately dropped position, handing over Jufro a podium place. Meanwhile, as Lenny Kiefer continues to lead in the amateurs, he's also leading overall. Fantastic stuff for the Lithuanian, Luxembourg driver, really trying to work his way and create a gap here, but Borglund is going to have his wingmans full of Jufro.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about this as well. Sure, you got Jufo and everything, but Kiefer being this high up is going to help him out in the long run. Of course, a good result in race number 1. If he keeps this up, he is going to have a massive margin at the end of the day in I would say. So he is going to want to keep this at the current moment. You're wondering how Paul Chauffeur ended up making up that much time. He's the fastest man on circuit right now with a 1:31.217. But right now, Corey Lazarus is also coming through in the background, as you can see. He's up against Davidas, and they are fighting.
Oh no!
And nail as that is going to be Davidas Laurinus, who has ended up going round. In fact, no, it's not. It's somebody else. Was it James Parker? No, it was Tony Despotakis. So that was quite a few there, it seemed. There was a silver one, there was a green one. There's so many cars tonight. It's absolutely amazing what you're seeing here with all this action. But this far in race number 1, there was quite a fight. But P number 6 all the way down to P number 16, practically less than a second between them all. This is wheel to wheel, side by side. This is what ended up going through, going down the inside, or initially makes contact, round the go, keep it going, and back on the circuit, and that is, I believe, that's just an unsafe rejoin, Adam.
Yeah, that's a big moment in this one. Very, very chaotic, but I think Despotakis is not going to be a happy person, and he's just gone out of the session. Meanwhile, someone who's going to be a very happy man is Paul Jufro, who's managed to get past the pro of Borglund, and they head their way now on towards lap 4 of this one. I believe they tick over the line. Starts at lap 5 here, and Kim-Andre Borglund does not want to let that Frenchman go. He needs to hold on to the back of that car for as long as he possibly can, and have Lenny Kiefer potentially being a bit of a mobile chicane, so the Frenchman just gets stuck behind, as the Norwegian could potentially try and go through, but it'll all be down to the pace of Kim-Andre Borglund. And last time around, he was half a second slower. Paul Jufro 131.559, Kim-Andre Borglund 132.041. That is the difference between these two cars, both in the same category, but also two cars that are fighting right at the very, very top. We now look back into this big old tussle here, and Lauren Arnis now looking down the inside. He got past Parker. Has it gone a bit too wide though? That's my question. Rear end damage as well on the Porsche of the Lithuanian, and Lauren Onis will really have to deal with these cars that have been dealt. He's not been given a good hand either after that spin, but he's currently now seemingly just trying to hold on now and see if he can get any form of points. Xavier Bullina, who is around that mid-pack, now knocking on the doors of the top 10 here at Alexa.
Yeah, so they are fighting tooth and nail. Third place overall in the amateur category, just in P number 11, nearly inside the top 10. Driver in front is P2 in, and that is Christian Malarek. So that is how they are faring up for the current moment in time. We were talking about the gaps though, coming down this main straight, you just see all these drivers, all this line. So there is so many of them, and it's absolutely amazing. Under the Yokohama gantry, and now into the left-hander as well in that black, blue and white Porsche. So many different liveries, so many lovely liveries. Now you come down towards the back stretch of this circuit, through the hairpin, possibly looking for the inside, but no move for the time being. Back up front is going to be Lenny Kiefer, and they are going to go at it one more time. Bolt pulls up for Lenny Kiefer. Lenny's going to hold the inside line, try and cut it off. He is going to put a nuisance to it. He's going to put a cork in the bottle, and he is going to hold the line. He is holding on to this lead like his life depends on it, but Paul Chauffeur is trying to get it as much as he can. This is racing at its finest, and it's ready and raring to go. And no, that's going to be deep. Is it? Was there slight contact on the rear right? We don't know, but now that's going to open up the barrel here. Here comes Kim Andley, Buckland. They are fighting now. That's for the lead. Oh. Here comes speed number 3 though, and that is slight contact. Axe probably hurting himself more by accident, and that is going to be a slowdown for Kiefer. So that's just really unfortunate there. That got real close between them. Thankfully, nobody spun, and now going to look for it down into turn number 1. That rear end is slipping out on Lenny Kiefer's Porsche. I think he needs to get back in the mindset. I think losing that lead has definitely got into his mindset.
Indeed. Wow, that was a whole load. I'd love to see a replay of Paul Dufro's move, because that was absolutely bold as ever. We'll have to have a look and see if we can potentially get a replay, but Andre Borgland still potentially looking for the move. But let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this segment here. This was Borgland, who's now just trying to go in towards the inside line. That was Paul Dufro. Do you know where he's learned that? Euronascar. I can confirm he's made that move before, just pushing past another car. He has learned that from his real world racing experience. It's been brilliant to watch. And Kim Andre Borgland seeing that little tap there from Lenny Kiefer. Kiefer was just so aggressive, just trying to retain that position. He's trying to retain whatever he possibly can. He's got a podium place, but once I think he falls to 4th, I think he's just got to focus about that amateur lead. You know, don't fall too far back into the clutches of Malturek and Haug. We currently look at this battle with Corey Lazarus. Now we look at Christian Carlson, who will be on that inside line of Lenny Kiefer in no time at all. He's have to actually now switch to the outside line or the red and black car as he looked to try and get a little bit of a switch back here. Carlson will now look for the gap here potentially, but no, Lenny Kiefer is planting that car beautifully. Very well done between these two drivers. But where will the Norwegian make the move? Let's try the outside, almost gone into the back there of the driver from Luxembourg. And now we're going to get a double dose of slipstream, not for Carlson, but for Lazarus.
A little bit of a double, can never turn it down. Rear end damage is there for Christian Carlson. Now going to make the move on Kiefer. Going to try and make it as quick as possible. Gets very wide, and now Kiefer has to defend that inside line. Corey Lazarus also watching from just behind, wheel to wheel, side by side between Carlson and Kiefer, but no move done apart from that one. But now Kiefer's going to fight it back again right up on the curb as you ride it around the corner. Now he's going to have the inside line, but unable to make it done. Maybe take a bit of deja vu. He is going to dive it down the inside, but look who's also there. Corey Lazarus going to go free abreast for half a second, and that is very, very close between them. But Corey still behind, Carlson ahead. This is racing, this is Porsche, and this is the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup. It's absolutely amazing as they head down the main straight once again, trying to get in that toe, but gonna move all the way to the side. He is not wanting to allow it, is Christian Carlson. Now goes down the inside is Lenny Kiefer. Gonna be fighting tooth and nail. Here comes Corey Lazarus. Has Christian Carlson lost the edge trying to defend that much? It's Corey Lazarus on the outside trying to hold the line there, but now going to slot in behind again, Adam.
Yeah, that's a big old battle between these two cars. I should say 3 cars in all honesty, because they are really, really on each other. They're bumper to bumper, and oh my word, look at this, a double dose of slipstream now for Corey Lazarus. Will he be able to pop to the outside? I think now it'll be down to Carlson to try and make the maneuver once again. Lenny Kiefer holding stations Forget the Great Wall of China. You're looking at the Great Wall of Kiefer, the Great Wall of Luxembourg, as Corey Lazarus slips through for 4th place there onto the gravel. He's losing a bit of momentum there. I think that was a bit of a rear slide. Was that maybe Carlson just sticking his nose in there and almost understeering into Lazarus's Porsche? But the Kiwi will just be looking to fight on forward here as he potentially looks for a podium place. We're almost at the halfway mark into this race, and Lenny Kiefer will just be looking for the checker flag at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing absolutely great. We're nearly halfway into this second race, and he is having an absolute time with it. He's putting up a mega defense, and considering his I rating, it is no surprise at all. One of the highest rated I ratings in AMA. That's going to be contact. No, it's not. It's just the camera moving. I got thrown off for a sec. And now he's going to be down the inside of Corey Lazarus. He's going to hold it there. Kiefer's going to go for an up and under. Here we go down the inside. Going to be wheel to wheel with him, getting inches and millimeters apart. Kiefer is having an absolute field day with this.
Ooh.
That's going to be a slight contact with Corey Lazarus. That's going to make them both lose momentum. Christian Carlson now back in this fight. Down the back straight. Here comes Carlson. Possibly looking for the outside line. It's going to be Corey Lazarus holding the defence as well. But now we've also got to look at this, Adam, as they both go deep. Does Carlson and Lazarus. That's going to give Kiefer once again an opportunity to come through. But look who's appeared on the rear end now. It is Shavler and Steve Kleiss. It is coming down to this. And you can see even more cars who could possibly, as Kiefer once again on the inside line. It's lap after lap after lap. Battle after battle. And now once again down the inside. I think we've said that a lot tonight, Adam.
Yeah, we have. We've really been explosive in this one. I'd love to have a look and see the kind of the overall rankings for the moment, just to see kind of who's in this battle with Lazarus now, looking to try and potentially put that car into the podium place once again. Having to be really aggressive with this one to catch off the Luxembourg driver by surprise. Speaking of surprises, there goes Kevin Chevalier looking up the inside of Carlson, down toward the outside. Moves being made multiple times at each second. Clays and Lauren Onis want to get on board with this one as well. Will Lazarus potentially go for a move on the inside line? No, he just continues to stay behind the amateur. He's not acting like an amateur, is he, Lenny Kiefer? But looking back to the ARL GT3s, he had a very difficult time in the BMW, but received a tap there off the experienced Porsche Cup driver of Corey Lazarus, and will just hold that inside line. Whilst a lap ago he was off near the gravel trap, because of course less grip on that outside with all the gravel that's been put down by the rest of the cars. Marcharek is now putting himself into P10. He's having to now hold off Xavier Bulliner, the American who's looking to go onto a podium for the first time, and Steve Clays drops a position, but he's actually battling with Lauren Onis, and Lauren Onis is off the circuit. I was going to hand it over to you, Alexa, but just a very unfortunate moment there, and a lack of concentration for Lauren Onis, and it seems like the Lithuanian is off onto the gravel trap. Dropped down to 11, and superbly unfortunate for him. He's gonna have to now recharge himself, get himself back into the zone, and now see what's happening here. Alexa, over to you.
Yeah, we're going to see a replay here. Steve Kleiss just ahead, and now looking possibly through the left-hander down into the braking zone. Goes down the inside. Oh, and that is what happens. Tries to go for a dive bomb, but no timing made in the correct moment. So that is Lorionis, who ends up going straight on. And this is a fight bit once again. Looking for the inside is Lenny Kiefer, but he's got to hold the line again and again, like he does every lap. This is the thing with these Porsches. No TC, no ABS. It is absolutely down to the driver with the Apex Sim Racing on the rear wing. This is the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup, and it is of course by the Apex Racing Academy. Is down the inside, going to be going again and again, looking for him, going for a move, wheel to wheel, side by side. This is continuously Pascal Wheeler who is trying to make the moves, but nothing for the moment. One thing that can help you out when it comes to racing is setups and track guides, which the Apex Racing Academy does provide for over 50 cars, including the Porsche Cup cars that you are watching go around the circuit tonight. You can purchase a gold, silver or bronze subscription at apexracingac.com. That's apexracingac.com, all lowercase, apexracingac.com. As they continue around this circuit here in the second race of the opening round here at Okayama, down the back straight, Joey Island continuously trying to get a move done, but now continuously fighting and wheeling all across the track, fighting against each other. So many gaps which have ended up so small. You've got so many different battles, and it's right now, it looks like it's going to be Laurenis who's having to defend from Pascal Wheeler, because they are heading down towards the hairpin again, and that is where it's sitting for the time being. But other than that, you've got quite a few battles. You've got Corey Lazarus defending from Lenny Kiefer, Christian Carlson, Kevin Shavler, and Steve Kleiss. You've got Maralek versus Alex Xavier Bulliner. You've got Davies versus all these other drivers as they are coming through and through at lap after lap. We are nearly 20 minutes deep into this, and that is going to be round they go for Pascal Wheeler. Looks for an inside move, did not work out.
Oh, unfortunate there for Pascal Veal. Yeah, I think it was too hot there in toward the corner. Unfortunately, lost it. Meanwhile, Steve Clays I thought was a bit hot into that corner. He has, in fact, it just seems to be here. No, sorry, that was Chevalier going a bit deep. My apologies on that one. Clays and Chevalier having a big old tussle. It looks like it's going to be the Belgian just holding out here with Chevalier for the Unity Racing team. It's a 1-6 here for the Unity Racing team as well. And look at how getting involved in this one. Is he going to go right to the inside, right to the pit wall? No, he's just going to hold himself, try and get past one of Chevalier, and then just hold on to 6th place for now. But he still sits second in that amateur class. And we're also seeing Carlson get involved here, with Chevalier getting just shoveled out and knocked down to P8 here. Unfortunate for him, he's now on the outside for the next hairpin, but I think got a bit of a poor exit off the previous corner. He's now having to look behind here at Maltarek, Christian Maltarek, the Slovakian, who's running really well in that top 10. But I do need to give out a shout out to down there in 12th place. Say hello to Joey Island, who's gone up 13 places throughout this race. A staggering amount of positions, just avoided all the carnage all throughout this race, especially on those opening a couple of laps. If we were here in these opening laps, you would know what I'm talking about. If you weren't, after this race, just go check out the opening lap, or the opening 2-3 laps of this second race, because they were absolutely manic. They're the reason why some drivers are all the way up here.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it even more interesting as well when you look at the board from P number 3. It's basically Pro-Am, 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 Pro-Am. And you've got 6 different drivers, maybe even 7, locked in this fight simply for P number 5, as you see the big old train heading down the main straight. Here comes Gordon Howe as they are trying to get past Steve Kleiss, because Lenny Kiefer is up the track ahead, looking for the outside line at turn number 1, but not going to make it work that time round. He has to be careful, though, of Christian Carlson through the left-hander, now onto this track as well, through the darkness. It's 30-degree track, 26-degree ambient, overcast and cloudy, with 22 done on the clock. Looking for the inside is Christian Carlson. Is there going to be a let through, because they are very clearly in the same livery? But I believe maybe Papaya Rouge, you're free to fight as you go down into the braking zone. This is absolutely amazing at the end of the day. You've also got Christian Marlik, who is going to be there for him. Here comes Christian Carlson, looking again, going to defend, as they are all over the place. It's wheel to wheel, side by side, a little squiggle on the exit onto the gravel. Here comes Xavier Bulliner in the background as well. You've got Kevin Shavler also in this fight, coming into the left-hander again. Now you come out of Revolver. You go into the final few. That's a little bit of contact on the rear right, and that's going to be Christian Carlson, who's now fighting against Christian Malik. Battle of the Chris's, and now it's once again wheel to wheel. They're flip-flopping, they're going back and forth, and look who's in the background. It's only Xavier Bulliner.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good stuff there from a lot of these drivers. Boliner was really working away as well to just try and open up whatever he possibly can. And of course, Ireland's still trying to push on forward. He's closed that gap to over 2 seconds, down to 1.5 as well. Lauren Onis in 11. Let's have a look back here with Engelstadt. He is trying to really get onto the back of this battle. It's currently being led by Philip Pignac ahead of Chevanani and Nevin Shani. That's going to be one to try and work through. That's going to be a whole two stop process to try and pronounce that one. But we're working on it. It's still the opening round of the season, guys. We're still working on it. Iglesias in there as well. So this is all the battle for the top 15, all in the amateur class as well. So a lot of these guys are going to be looking to get points as well. Meanwhile, Lauren-Onis has got a black flag. That is going to be interesting. I think he's going to have to now come into... sorry, Jim was just saying something in production. So I'm not sure if the stream heard that, but Jim Cunningham in production saying, I think that's too many.
Kevin Shavler.
You're right on that one.
Kevlar, that's going into the pit lane. Something happened. Apologies to cut in on you there, Adam. But that is going through, as there is Davidus Lawrence, who is also going into the pit lane. I am wondering if we are able to get a replay on Kevin Shavler, because he dropped down about 5 or 6 positions there. So no idea what happened to him as it happened off the screen. But apologies, as here we go then. This is what happened. So making the way through. Is this after or just before? Trying to figure out as he... Oh, that is what happens. In the just chilling in his position, goes around the corner, spins it round, and into the grass again. Back to you, Adam. Apologies for cutting in.
Yeah, no worries. I was just trying to work out what was going on. But yeah, it seemed like too many incident points for Lauren Onis, the Lithuanian. And that was a big old drop of the rear there for Chevalier. Drops all the way down to 13th. And then Iglesias will be side by side there with Engelstadt. They're side by side. Still in contact in a proper touring car race. We're in Porsche Cup. Not British Touring Car Championship. My word, they were right on each other's doors. I'm pretty sure there's a bit of red paint on Engelstadt's car as well, and that is meant to be pink, white and black. No red on that whatsoever, but I'm sure you'll be spotting some red on the side of that door after this race, with less than 4 minutes to go on this one. And now that means Joey Ireland is up 15 places from his starting position and is in the top 10. What an amazing one for him. But he's under pressure here from the pro here of James Parker. Those two having a bit of a tussle here. So I think Ireland is going to just force his vision to kind of go backwards here. Look at the wing mirrors and just hold down that 10th place, because wow, this has been superb. As Steve Clays now looks to go up another place here. And actually, he's on the defensive. My apologies. And it's Gordon Haug who's going to be battling this one, covering off, chopping across the nose on this one as well.
I mean, launch straight into the Tovo on the back straight. Here we go. Steve Kleiss is going to have to defend it. Looking for the outside like majority of drivers do into the braking zone. But Steve is just ahead. You get BTCC. They do race alongside sometimes, Adam. We both know that. And that is going to be nice and clean for Gordon Howe. And that is move done for the time being. Steve Kleiss going to end up losing that position. He was 10 up. Now he's 9 up. No doubt for him as the season 13 champion of Steve Kleiss. But he is on an absolute roll tonight. But now going down the order as well. James Parker still on Joey Ireland. The Brit versus the Brit. Somewhere in Britain. He's got the Union Jack up for Joey Allen as the Union Jack, James Parker as the England flag. So wherever from the UK Joey may be, now into the right-hander, going through and into the main straight, trying to close in as quickly as possible. A little bit more towards the gravel was James Parker, possibly trying to carry more speed, but you can see how dirty that windshield is as the wipers have been working overtime for that. I think that's another big factor we forgot to talk about, Adam, is all the dirty air that's going to be coming off these cars.
Yeah, that's a very true statement there. There's a little bit of dirty air, but it's kind of all of the gravel, the dirt, the mud, the grass as well, down in towards the hairpin they go. But this is a replay here of, it seems like, Max Nevin Shani down in towards the hairpin, and a big old drop there. Oh, sideways he goes, the Portuguese driver, and it seems like Jim is laughing in production. I think it's the name pronunciation. So Jim, I'm hoping I'm going to get the last laugh in this one by practicing that name and maybe having to ask Max personally. Ruben Iglesias in toward the hairpin he goes, still just behind Ingolstadt. The Swedish driver still holding stations with a minute left to go. And we're on to the final lap here for Paul Dufresne, and what a superb race he has had. What a superb night he's had ahead of a weekend where he's meant to be heading over to Germany to race in the European NASCAR series. He has ultimately destroyed the competition. Kim Andre Borkland was looking at an opportunity for Sim Racing Norway, but it just hasn't come off here for the Norwegian. He just wasn't able to stick with the absolute supreme Paul Dufresne, who has been on top of his car all night. He has gone and done his homework around this superb circuit of Okayama, but will really quickly head on towards James Parker and Ireland here, because Joey is really going to have to defend this one in toward the hairpin. Then we'll cut back to our race lead, because we want to see if this is going to be an overtake here for Parker for the last kind of top 10 place here, which we know how important that can be in some championships. But down towards the hairpin, and it looks like Ireland is just going to hold place. But on a night where Paul Dufresne switches from his real-life NASCAR to the sim rig, he has won in real life, he will win in the sim. It's a double victory for the Frenchman. Paul Dufresne takes a double win here in Okayama, and a fantastic start to the ARA Porsche Cup Championship for Dufresne. Can he replicate that later this weekend in real life? Let's have a look. We'll have to tune in to that one. James Parker looks to go around the outside, but will hold on for P10 for Joey Ireland, up 15 places from his starting position. What a fantastic finish for him. Lenny Kiefer will hold on to that win. Oh, we've got a bit of carnage as well, a bit of donuts as well for one of our drivers. But Lenny Kiefer is our amateur winner, 2 seconds ahead of Gordon Haug, and it will be Christian Malchadek who will be completing that top 3 in the amateurs. Alexa, what a fantastic race we've had.
We thought the first one was chaotic and amazing. The second one, Adam, especially on those opening laps, shows what racing can be at its absolute finest. Especially Okayama, it's one of the most amazing circuits, at least in my opinion. First ever time doing it. Already love it. Totally not biased because it's in Japan either. But we move on. But Chauffeur, like, talk about dominance. Like, he had to come through the field, he had to fight his way, and he did absolutely amazing tonight. But we got to give it to Kiefer as well. He got P10 in race number 1, ended up to start on pole, and then he ended up there, and it sits like this on the results. For the pros, it is going to be Chauffeur, followed by Borkland, then Corey Lazarus, then Steve Kleiss, Carlson, Parker, Xavier, then Lawrence, Chauffeur, and Wheeler. In the AMs, it's Kiefer, Haug, Marlick, Bulliner, Ireland, Paniak, Ellingslas, Iglesias, Werman, Nearshani, Torkstrand, Russell and Ham. And then overall for race 2, it is Chauffeur, followed by Borgland and Corey Lazarus rounds out the overall podium. Then Kiefer in P number 4, top in Am, followed by Howe. Then Steve Kleiss, followed by Marlock, Carlson, Bulliner and Ireland rounds out the top 10. Then Parker, Stringer, Chavaler, Paniak, Iglesias, and then Worm.
Indeed. Fantastic stuff as well. And it seemed like
also, another
go
thing to think about, top 3 amateurs, top 6. Top 7, I should say. So that is all over the place. Adam, what a classification. I'm honestly shocked. That is amazing.
It's been brilliant. I think we've seen kind of the top level that this ARA Porsche Cup Championship is going to host, and of course we do have plenty more rounds coming your way. Let me take a bit of a moment in here to kind of delve into the calendar, because we do have a very exciting calendar coming up for you. We do go across to so many interesting circuits all across the world, and I believe it is 9 rounds that you will be introduced to. So once I find the schedule, which is here, we start at Okayama, which is now being completed. We then head to the brand new Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for Mexico. Then we head to Algarve in Portimao. What a fantastic circuit that's going to be. We then head over to Oceania, to Australia. It's the Bend for round number 4 on the 7th of October. And then we head a week later to the Hockenheim Ring, round 5. That would be heading into our European double header of Hockenheim, round 5, and then Barcelona for round 6. Then we head into round 7 for Road Atlanta. My goodness me, what an amazing race that is going to be. Make sure you're tuning in onto Apex Racing TV for Tuesday, the October 28th. That is going to be a fantastic one. And then rounding it out on November the 4th at Imola. Those are going to be your 8 rounds that will make up the ARA Porsche Cup of Season 14. Stay with us. It's going to be on every Tuesday.
Yeah, it most definitely is. That's an amazing calendar. Personally, Imola, very looking forward to that. But is it weird I like Imola the best as a racing circuit?
Oh, no. It's a nice circuit, personally. Jim is saying in...
Jim is saying otherwise. Jim is saying otherwise. We do have a little bit of time for people to see if we will get interviews, but we will remind you that this is the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series, of course, brought to you by Apex Racing Academy. And of course, they provide, like we've already said tonight, and we'll remind you again, they bring you track guides, they produce setups for over 50 cars, including the Porsche Cup cars that you have seen tonight. So if you ever think that you want to hop in a Porsche Cup car, you know where to go to get your setups, and you can purchase a bronze, silver, or gold subscription at apexracingac.com. All lowercase, no, yeah. As we go over all, Adam.
We do into overall. We do have a couple into the in the waiting room. We've got Steve Clays, it seemed like, and Kim Andre Borgland. Let's drag in Borgland, the Norwegian. Let me see if I can do it here.
I got it.
Because you got it? Kim Andre Borgland, you are on Apex Racing TV. A very chaotic couple of races. Tell us about kind of how you've settled into this opening season of the opening round of the championship, I must say.
I had a pretty great time. A little bit, some questionable defense by the AM driver in race 2, but yeah, it was really good for me.
In terms of that race too, of course, because that's very fresh in our minds. what was the pace like with Paul Jouffroy? Because of course he looked so quick. Were you just not able to keep up with him? Was his pace just that amazing?
He is really fast, and I have struggled all day with. Haven't felt I had really good traction in some corners, so I just have to back off to not spin.
And of course, we head to the brand new Mexico circuit, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Is that going to be a circuit where you feel a little bit confident, or maybe a bit of an open playing field as well? Because of course, it is brand new to iRacing.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. I have tested some with the GT3s and some with the new in the next car, so not with the Porsche Cup yet, but we'll try this week and see how it stacks up.
Was you kind of happy with your result, or were you hoping for more at the end of the day?
I'm really happy because I didn't have the pace to get a podium today, so I'm really happy.
Alexa, I'll pass it over to you. Any questions from you?
I was going to ask about what the plan was, but that's already been answered. Is there anything that you would change going into the rest of the season? Of course, got a bit of a bite of the cherry tonight. Seeing what some of the drivers are like with their driving styles. Is there anything like you are thinking of changing, whether it be driving style, where you approach corners coming into the rest of the season? Now that you got a little bit of experience with the others.
Probably going to put on some more practice before the races.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough. Adam, do you have any more questions for him?
Nothing from me, but if that's everything, Kim, it's been a pleasure to have you on at the broadcast. We'll see you for the next round in Mexico.
Thanks.
No worries. Kim Andre Borgland there. We now have the choice of Joey Ireland or Steve Clays. Alexa, I'm going to let you choose this one.
Steve Kleiss, you are live on Apex Racing TV. A pretty solid opening round from what we have seen tonight. Hello again. How was that race for you tonight, especially with all these new drivers?
Good evening, guys. Yeah, it was pretty hectic in race one. I got a little bit caught up along with Kevin behind the amateur driver, but yeah, we got stuck in P15, so I just had to wait. I couldn't pass him; he was faster, no problem. And then in race two, yeah, I got a little bit of lucky. I think some crashes in front of me, some freebies. But then, yeah, suddenly you're in almost the top five, and then the things get heated. So I had to focus, and at the end, just lost one position. Fair move from Gordon, and I really enjoyed it. But it was not as easy than I thought.
Yeah, of course. Back in the Porsche car, I don't know how long it's been since you've been out of it, but going around a circuit like Okayama, especially that second half of the circuit where it can get a little bit hard to overtake, what was the plan coming into the opening round? Was it going with as much force as possible and hope to get good positions, or was there practice trying to figure out the lines and everything?
Well, I didn't. I'm only racing Porsche, so in the official races, I only do Porsche. So I'm not really out of it. But for this round, I got a little bit surprised because I saw the message today that there was a race tonight. I thought it was next week. So I was like, oh, okay, it's tonight. So I practiced a little bit before the server went live, but I wasn't near the times I was doing in the race. So I was surprised about the result now. So, but yeah, I really had to defend on some, like you say, the last portion, the last section of the track. It's really tricky. If you make a small mistake, you can get crashed or passed or whatever. So I saw a lot of stuff. I got hit, I got bumped, but we survived.
Well, fair enough. Do you have any questions for Steve, Adam?
Nothing from me. Just want to say a big congratulations to Steve. It was a well fought race, and you really held your own on that one. I'm sure we'll see you in 7 days' time in Mexico.
Yeah, I will be there. And now that I'm pro, because I'm the amateur champion of last season, I really have to do better than last season. So yeah.
See you then.
Well,
Take care.
Okay. Bye bye. Thank you, guys.
we'll see you in a bit, Steve. And we have just about enough time. I'll let you do a quick question with Joey Ireland, Adam.
Joey, you're live on Apex Racing TV. Oh, what a fantastic run in that second race. Let's talk about the first one because, that was one to kind of settle into. Use that kind of as a test run.
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, that was completely my fault. It was I didn't unfortunately set my brake bias up on the grid, so going into that first corner, it just kind of locked the fronts up, and I could do nothing about it.
Yeah, unfortunately for you. But moving on to that kind of second race, what kind of changed between that first and second? Was it just, that brake bias causing you to have a lot of confidence?
Yeah, we changed the going into the second race. The first race we underfueled, so unfortunately we had to pit in for some more fuel. But so we added a bit more fuel for the second race, and we also changed the tire pressures and the brake bias a little bit more. So once I kind of got the tires warm and up to optimal temperature, it was kind of settled in and just got into a groove really. And I got a couple of freebies on the first couple of laps and just worked my way back up.
Was there was a huge gain for you, 15 spots, 15 positions. You climbed into the top 10. Is this kind of a sign of things to come for future rounds?
I hope so. I mean, we're going to Mexico next, so it's a track that I'm quite experienced on in other sims. New to it, obviously, with the Porsche iRacing, so I think it'll be a good track for me.
Have you done any testing on it so far?
I did the 13th week, so once the update came live on iRacing, I got a couple of official races in, and so far so good. So we'll carry on.
Was Joey, sorry, it's been a big pleasure to talk to you, and I'm sure we'll see you for future rounds. All the best for the upcoming season.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Alexa and Jim, we have come to the end of another broadcast here at Apex Racing TV. What a start to the ARA Porsche Cup Series. It's been fantastic to kind of cover this opening round at Okayama, don't you think?
Yeah, we thought race 1 was good, race 2 was even better, and if that is a sign of things to come, then you can only imagine what it's going to be like when we go same place, same time next week, Adam.
Indeed, and we will see you in 7 days' time where the field heads over to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, the home of Pedro and Ricardo Rodriguez, the home of the Formula One Mexican Grand Prix. We'll see you then, 8 p.m. Be there. We'll see you very soon for round 2. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.